Thank you. Good evening, my brothers and sisters, the family, my friends, and everybody, and all the supporters and non-supporters of NGC. I'm glad you're for there this evening. On behalf of the Women's Wing, NGC Women's Wing, Sierra Leone, I bring greetings and we want to thank you very much, especially the women, for all the support we will give throughout this campaign and election period. I want to thank the women, especially for the support we give aspirants and female aspirants, for the parliamentarians and the councillors. They always go na Don Bosco family home, the orphanage within our 4th Street. But also, because you get organization and you know humanitarian, plus your charity, you always the bigger, and I will be always and they beg for the charity organization. Only if Ibrahim there today, Ibrahim Fona, if you're there this evening. Is he there? Ibrahim. This guy is awesome. I mean, you know, Auntie Miriam, like it's now big boy picking this. Even KKY. I just want, of course, when I don't launch the Philomena Yumkela Foundation. The parents Vicky say, me they don't care me go na some side 2 o'clock morning at that country. Then if the situation really bad, it's for real. We get street kids a lot of them, boys and girls. At the time I don't go, I always go na Don Bosco family home, the orphanage within our 4th Street. You know, if we get enough space for some of them, it's so painful. I go there, they see 12-year-old Pekin, the person take her on the street, he was prostituting. Yes, you know, getting an orphan, you know. So I'm not able to really emphasize the importance of this orphanage for really building a Sierra Leone, and not only one side. Believe me, yes. If we stand by we support you, and this is a global plea. Now they make. Some of them beginning they will be the next lawyer, the next doctor, the next president in that country. So do ya help you in this fight for let be able to put up this orphanage, at least the first one. All they try for established right now. I'm not able to thank Ibrahim enough. I'm not able to do this without him, honestly. Because when you get food soldiers and then wire outside, because you can do your own, but if you get somebody where they advocate and tirelessly, I mean, you're not ever tired, all the time put them out there, advocate. I can't thank him enough. And this is supposed to be with the beginning, but it's not like a salon day. So I did tonight. I know say when I don't look the website, you don't put everything in there for let support me. Let we put everything aside. And remember we continue to here. Do ya? The disunity, the division and the greed within other country. If we not try to take care of it today, we will destroy with society. So do ya? I plead tonight this evening for help me. For put all hands on board and support me that is fight for let we not know where a child, anyone at the streets of Sierra Leone, not only Freetown. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Philomena Yumkela. We pray that God makes this project go very well for you. And Mr. Ibrahim KKY, everybody in the DMV calls you Ibrahim KKY. Thank you for the job well done. You're doing a fantastic job. May God continue to bless you and bless your family. All right, I think he passed out some cards. Ibrahim passed out some cards. You want to talk a little bit about it? Okay.
Just a little bit, just a little bit. Thank you. First of all, for those folks that I've never met, it's a pleasure meeting you guys all today. I want you all to know that. To me, I feel like I've met all of you. Yeah, sorry. Okay. So, but ladies and gentlemen, this is about Dr. Yumkela's tour coming over here for God thank me also. I don't want to take that away from the fact, but waiting Mrs. Yumkela will say so. Election is over, guys. Let us get to reality. If we want to win 2023 elections, it's about what we start doing now. Yeah. That's what's going to make us get there. So, if we don't have unity, if we don't get one word, we don't come together and achieve certain objectives together, like she has said, it's a sad, sad thing that we can't give for CD picking and waiting to suffer. So, let us think about our own kids. That is the essential thing. If you picture them, put them like you're looking at them in the mirror and say, if that was my child, would I just sit by and not do anything and take some action? This is what this is about. This is a global thing. This is a big thing. We're going to start this here. The vision is about taking it across Africa. Because Africa is punished. Africa is suffering. These kids are suffering. They are future generation, and all going to agree with me. We have to do something. Because we don't go around and get for represent me. And those are the kids that have to represent us. Not what we don't pick no for look at. That's how I want you guys to see this. So I'm going to make this plea shortly. September 10th, the official campaign is started. We take the $50 a piece. 5,000 Sierra Leoneans is the minimum I'm looking for. 5,000 Sierra Leoneans, guys. If we can do that, we've made it. We often just raise $1 million for a start. Because with anything what you do, if you don't get your own seed, the one way you get for go big to for help, they have to see proof of what you're doing. They want to work NGOs and they know exactly what I'm talking about. They want to see what you've done, what you've done, how far you've gone, and then that will make themselves and say, you know what? There's a possibility now. Let us make this happen, guys. $1 million between September 10th to October 30th, the end of October. Guys, we can do it, guys. Let's take the word out there and talk to people, spread it out. I'm doing what I'm doing. You two can do what you can do, guys. Thank you, everybody. I love it all. Ibrahim, bye-bye.
Yes, that's the kind of passion that I'm talking about. This man is so passionate about what he does that, if every one of us can copy him, we'll take Sierra Leone a long way. So, all right. With any ship, there's always a captain. When you get a captain, we're not a no-nonsense captain. When you get a captain, we know who side they go. When you get a captain, we get respect for everybody. When you get a captain, we'll make sure the ship they go well, they sink. That's the kind of captain you're looking for. Ladies and gentlemen, our NGC DMV chapter does have a captain, and that is no other than my brother, Mr. Lamin Conde. Mr. Lamin Conde is a no-nonsense man. For those of you who don't know him, I have known him a very long time. I worked with him at the North American Mandingo Association when he was our president, and he would tell you just the way it is. He doesn't bend no corners. He will tell you the way it is, you like it or you don't like it. You have to be straightforward in the community. Let us respect each other and work together. NGC needs each and every one of us. I was not originally an NGC member, but when I looked at all of the candidates, I said, you speak so pretty, I don't think they go to this person here, so I don't know when I come over NGC, and I have no regrets. And when I give my all, I give my all. That's what our chairman is doing. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a hand for our able chairman, Mr. Lamin Conde.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It is a pleasure that, yes, we are in continuation of what we started 2012. It's okay, I'll mix and match. First of all, before I start, let me thank Mrs. Philomena Yumkela for the motivation, the endurance that she gave to the man of the hour today. I was in Freetown, and I know exactly when I'll call her sometimes. But yes, when she can do it, then our beloved leader have to follow. So I thank you for the motivation that you gave to Dr. Kande. Ladies and gentlemen, I have 3 messages. One from an Eskroma, surprisingly, 1 from the United Nations, and 1 from the so-called Western democracies, i.e. the United States, Germany, France, and UK, Ireland. And this message is simple. Dentrifutui. It was not an election, it was a selection. And Eskroma was bent by any means necessary to make sure Dr. Kande did not become the next president of Mama Salon. But today, they are singing in Parliament, Madabio, Ifabino. Is that not right? But the Tolombo were not thinking. They were obsessed. And the second one, I hate to say, the United Nations, that we perceive as an organ of democracy, as an organ that will look for people that are uplifting themselves. I come to find out one thing while I was in Sierra Leone campaigning for NGC. If an election is conducted effectively, if truthfully, no matter how unethical that election is good enough for them. That's the message they send. And the funny part about the Western democracies, they give us democracy on paper. But yet still, they look for their geopolitical economic needs. Now waiting, they suit them in a multinational corporation in your country, Sierra Leone in particular. So whether it's MADA, whether it's ANES, whether it's a corrupt system of government, if it fits, then it's enough to say we have an election and we should move on. And unfortunately, I'll say, my friends, we as Sierra Leoneans have become gullible. Africans have become gullible. Go talk to a Sierra Leonean about politics. We are not trying. Media politics, they are no mix. But yet still, when that very person enters Freetown, but you say, look at the light. But you say, if you see the school, the bench them, if you see the pan body, hey God, I will go Kailaon me back home. Now you are not interested in politics, but you are interested in how the whole narrative of better Sierra Leone should be. Until we stop to be gullible and we refabricate the fabric of Sierra Leone by merging community and community leaders that want to change Sierra Leone, we'll always have something to say that is wrong. And Eskroma did not make mistake. We do. I campaign in mosque. I campaign in churches in Sierra Leone. And I tell them, you are held accountable as much as the politician. Because when you see leaders that are not good enough, and you say Natolombo because you're not Timni, Natoboy because you're not SLPP, now my brother and party because you they eat, you forget the very people Dr. Kamara talked about. You forget the very people Ms. Yomkela talked about. But yet still, you sit in the comfort of your remote control and say, but let it try. But you have brothers and sisters that need health care, good education. Sierra Leoneans excel outside of Sierra Leone. But what is wrong when it comes to our community, our Mama Salon? Our narrative in the NGC, hope, opportunity, and transformation. Yes. God gave us hope when you were created. God gave you hope when you can become a rational human being. And you can't even talk about opportunities. They are there. Bauxite, iron ore, rutile, chromite, diamond, offshore, inshore, arable land. And I don't expect God for candor and transform Sierra Leone, because God have already gave us the opportunity for that transformation, and we must make use of that transformation. I heard Sierra Leoneans will say, but KKY no be talk nothing after the election, and some say we want game politics 101. I think it should have been politics 901, because I say Dr. Kande have absorbed punches from the Benghazi boys, punches from the Paupa, punches from Anes Koroma. What kind of 101 can you give a man that have absorbed punches for 2 years and still in the trenches, not in a comfort zone, to say, yes, we can change the narrative in Sierra Leone? My brothers and sisters, is KKY in the house? Yes. Is KKY in the house? Well, if you can help me welcome this distinguished citizen of the world, this patriot of Sierra Leone, this game changer, game player, and peacemaker of Sierra Leone, put your hands together and let me present to you His Excellency Dr. Alhaji Kande Yamkela. Thank you very much. Good evening all. We apologize for being late. We don't have a private plane. And we got to the airport this morning, and Columbus, Ohio, and we were told, sorry, your flight is cancelled. So we had to find all kinds of ways to make sure we don't disappoint our folks in DMV. We're very happy to be here. It's over a year since I came back to the States. As I have told people now, I get to line for visa. But I'm here.
Big sacrifice.
We are very happy to be here with you. Thank you. It is a thank you tour. We came to say thanks. To say thanks to all of you in your various ways. You inspired us. You gave us ideas. Some of you gave us cash. Some of you gave us all of that, and you came back down to Freetown to campaign and help us go into the countryside and all over the place to campaign, but also to get a good hand and a good feel for how politics, real politique, is played on election, during the electioneering process. I can't stop thanking you. So that's why we came. That's why we have this very difficult schedule. I spend one night in some places, a night, 2 nights, and then I'm off again. We've only done half. Now I still have to do Philadelphia, Boston, California, Atlanta, and Florida. So 5 more to go in 1 week. So there's some problem with the back already. Any chiropractors here? Any free chiropractor here to help me out? Maybe some people sabi use Bengay or something. But thank you very much. It's worth the pain. It's worth the time to touch base with you. Yes, the elections are over. We have learned our lessons, what we did well and what we didn't do well. We made some mistakes as well. I think we were too ambitious. We tried to cover 440 out of 446 local governments within 5 months. That's too much. But that was the ambition of all of you, NGC. We had to show that we were inclusive. We left no location out. But physically, operationally, that's tough to do in 5 months. We tried to cover 132 constituencies in 5 months. Tough. And we did some things nobody else did. We chose to pay the registration fees for all the councillors and MPs. No other party did that. Some parties sold their symbols for $5,000, $10,000 and more. We followed your dictate that we should be inclusive. We should support the women candidates. We should support the young candidates. good number of our candidates were below 30 or 40, were below 40. So we try to be true to what we preached. It has a cost. And the analogy I give people is, you start a business, and the business expert tells you, when your business is mature, you should have 11,000 employees. When your business is mature, so they're looking at 2-3 years. Well, imagine we started a business 5 months, and we decided that we will hire 22,000 people to man our polling stations within 2 months. That was too much. But we have to do it because they say we have to show that we're inclusive, leave no constituency out. So yes, we could have focused a little bit more on the places we're strong. I used to argue with people. I say, I know some Democrats will not spend too much time at Utah, right? Yeah. They'll go there once, but they'll go to New York 5 times. And they'll come to DC maybe 5 times too. But Utah, once. Yeah? Some Republicans will also go to Massachusetts maybe twice. But they'll spend more time in the red states, no? But we learned our lessons. We spread too far. There were some management issues. But the bottom line, there were things we couldn't control. We couldn't see what was happening, as Honorable Victoria said, with the RRS funds. We didn't see that coming at all. There are some things you expect, integrity of the system. Integrity of the system, we overlooked that. But we couldn't have known. But anyway, the interesting thing is, the first people to show that there were issues with the elections was SLPP, right? They did the first press conference. We did the second press conference. APC decided to do press conference just before the runoff. The runoff. Before that, they were happy. Then they came up with a long list. They confirmed even more the things we pointed out in the first round. The other evidence that something was wrong with the election is the following. There are about over 60 petitions of members of parliament positions. Over 60 petitions filed. If you have 132 members of parliament and you petition over 60, isn't something wrong with the elections? Yeah. Over 50% was petitioned. 30 each by APC and SLPP, we did 8. We'll see what the justice system will do. We'll see what they will do. So I just wanted to give you an overview. We had a stakeholders meeting in Freetown. We were planning for 150 people. Some of our agents, executives around the country come to Freetown, and we talk about what happened 2 months after the elections. We were surprised 350 people showed up. They said, now we meet you, they go, they say, I want to talk. And indeed, as people called it, Nabin Blow Mind session. Yeah, they blasted me too. For decisions they believe I was too slow in making. They blasted me also too much Western academic business kinds I took. And I took the slap, especially the youth. They were frank with their observations. Some of the diasporans also sent in their observations of what we didn't do right. We should have spent more time protecting our votes. We should have spent more time protecting our votes. But we did not so. Yes, I remember when I was here, July of 2015, before going to Sierra Leone in August, I had said we started a marathon, not a 100-meter dash. It's a long process, but you learn and you grow and you continue. And I believe we've learned a little bit. But you know, there were some things we did well. Let nobody underestimate us again. I saw better diaspora participation than we've ever seen in elections. And I think we've learned. We've learned. I saw people volunteering, coming to that country. I can give you, for example, my own constituency. I was all over the country, and my constituency was left in the hands of my relatives. 4 diasporans, including my 2 nephews who were in Baltimore, and the brother of mine, plus 3-4 others. They came straight from London. The others, 4 of them, said, no, we're not staying in Freetown. We're going to Kitchen. And I said, what the heck are they going to do? I need them in Freetown. They said, no, doctor, would they go help you? And yes, they did. I give you a story, how difficult it is to manage systems in countries where institutions don't work. We had already allocated funds to pay for the polling agents, to give them their allowance and their feeding. This is my constituency now, right? We sent everything ahead of time.
So I arrived the day before elections. I arrived there by boat 2:30 in the afternoon. I asked my folks, and all right, they said, doctor, everything we don't take care of, no worry. Everything is under control. So I said, okay, let's wait till done first. Woke up again after siesta, 4:30, I said, well, I'll meet back, I'll go through. Everything fine. Now here's the shocker, okay? 2 of my security decide to go, so who is from Kichom here, Moribaya, that's close to the Guinea border. It's a big constituency, 64,700 people, one of the biggest in the country. 7:30, the guy comes back on Okada, hey, doctor, the people that they say they're not getting money for tomorrow for the polling agent. 7:30 in the evening. I said, not possible. And 2 minutes, doctor, he had the phone, like call the man for you. So I called the guy said, doctor, I don't get nothing now. And not to me one, look the other number. By the time we checked, none of them had received it. 7:30 in the evening. So I gave you that story to tell you that these diaspora guys came to my house, they heard about it, rushed in. So what do? So typical Western operation now, Nairobi. Logistics planning. They volunteered themselves with my relatives to go to every location that night till 3 in the morning. So I just want to thank you. Many of you did things like that. Sao Mandy in the room. Sao did not come, right? He's on his way. I went to campaign in Kailan. Tired. Gone everywhere. In Daru, and don't feed me well, I don't begin sleep set. And who comes? Sao Vandi. Doctor, you gave a code Penebuna. So there were people like this that went inside. Abu Sako. I'm just naming a few, yeah? There are many. Donald from this area, Donald Roberts. Many people, women as well. I want to thank you. Now we know what to do. But we know we have to do it in advance. I want to thank you. No, Fini said me there, yes. And Fini go Kaila also. Now we will get small accident. Yeah. Baraka. Yeah. Baraka there? Yes. Yes. Baraka vex for me. We don't make plan all for deal, sir. Everything arranged. And they hold me back up here. So Baraka, I know say you don't forgive me now. No, so. You don't forgive me. I make plan. But his footprints were there. Yes, because the people were waiting even at 7 o'clock in the evening because of 2 weeks of work he did. So many, just forgive me if I don't call your name. I just want to give examples. But there were those warriors who were behind the scenes. Ideas and cash. You know, some there moments they wish you don't nothing all day again. See some diaspora man boss. Doctor, how is it? You don't see say the stress all day. All right, doctor, this why not to the campaign money or this now for you fear. $1,000. Say, hey, my man. He said, no. At the owner office, they go give them $1,000,000. This now you fear. Yes, there's some in this room. I see some of them smiling already. Because there were those moments. The best of the best was when we were stuck and we had to pay the candidature fees. We sat there. I was on top of the boat in Banff. I said, swallow, hey, you know, say next week we'll get for pay the people the candidature fee. And I said, eat dog, not true. And I said, I don't want to tell you almost so you go afraid. But let me tell you, there was a diaspora group of professionals. They had just formed themselves 3 weeks before. Some of my very good friends, all Sierra Leoneans, professionals. Behold, they may not put money. 1,000 to 2,000. So I called somebody, I said, hey man, we Choco, this I for call Philadelphia, the DMV now. He said, no, don't worry. He said, our group is there. I said, really? He said, come on, can they? They said, we're already at $20,000. I said, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? He said, so what is the problem? You know, typical professional. I said, well, that's a drop in the bucket, but here's what we need. He said, okay, let me check with the group. Yeah, 48 hours later, $35,000 cash. Yeah, diaspora. They put it together. They called each other. They came to the rescue, so there are many stories. Some of you supported projects. So today, you see, I'm just excited to tell you, we did things right. Did you see our rallies?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you see our rallies?
Yes.
You know, a diplomat told me, said, Dr. Keller, don't worry, we don't believe your numbers in Freetown. We don't believe those numbers. We were there, we saw, not once, but 3 times in a year, what you guys did in this city. We know those were not your right numbers. but we can't change it. But it means we know how to mobilize. There's a young man called Ibrahim as well. You know Ibrahim KKY, when this guy saw me last week, he screamed, "At last I've met you!" People could not believe that there were young men and women in Sierra Leone and outside of Sierra Leone who never knew me. So we just read the profile. This man is old enough to be our dad, but that's the leadership we're looking for. Ibrahim, one small GoFundMe, over $20,000. Just like that. So I'm just telling you, for those of you who are businessmen, you do a SWOT analysis after things like this. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. We know our weaknesses now. We know our strengths. We know what we did right. And there are opportunities. Because the messages we were giving are resonating now. Now we been saying, thief, do so. Yes. Now we get mind for right, but institutional leakages. I did that already 2016. And tell me, say, academic writing, the right, study local politics. One journalist on one of the TV programs said, Dr. he was interviewing me about this article because it was published all over, institutionalized leakages. So I did go now, they explain institutionalized leakages. He said, but Dr. Yumkela, that's academic. Whoa. It really hit me. I said, what do you mean academic? Well, that's what people say. And indeed, one very prominent politician remains unnamed. Said, yeah, we don't deal with theoretical people who have no experience. And I know that the guy said, they've said it already, Dr. Yumkela. So I said, okay, I left the English now. Institutionalized leakages means say they're the thief. Yes. Now, World Bank, UN, what they call them leakages in the system. No one call them thief. Yes, institutionalized means say they don't organize a like rackets. It is institutionalized. It is systematic, draining the economy. Don't clean. Don't clean. So they dismissed me. Institutionalized leakages. They say the Michigan State they teach. So I followed up. The following year, Emma Sin had just come out with the music. Mungu boss Bamachi. I mean, the dancer and a tongue. All my user for campaign. But he said something about ranker politicians. So when I say I sit there on top, Okada, I say I'm afraid ranker politician, not so. So I went back to doing what I do best. I'm a professional. So I wrote another one, Rankonomics. If you don't believe institutionalized leakages, well, I write Rankonomics for you. I say some of what is happening is a mirage. Your economy is dying. You should be asking deep questions. How come Liberia and Guinea economies did not collapse? Yeah. They had Ebola too. They suffered depression in commodity prices too. Yeah. But ours collapsed. Why? So I call it Rankonomics. Yes. You mess it up, you bluff people and say all things correct. Yes, the old man go dance behind you with devil. But the basics are dead. So when I see people saying today, all things trying, of course it's inherited. As an economist, I know. An economy does not collapse overnight. It is an accumulation of bad policies. And so what I ask for in Sierra Leone, and I'll go back, I hope I have an appointment to see His Excellency, say, Mr. President, call an economic summit. This patchworking, not a walk. Not a walk. When we talked about it 3 years ago, I requested on radio, my first year, then Ebola had not even finished. I said there needs to be a summit because I had seen the numbers. How much money we lost in our economy. Much more than Liberia and Guinea. I said we need a summit of the best minds. That's what they do here. Call business people, economists. How do we fix our economy? I'll ask for that again when I go back now. We can't do it quickly. Patchwork. I said to people a week ago in Baraka's event, economics, you go like Panama, or when they don't clean it, they come for you, your inflation number, they will see it. They will see your GDP growth rate. They will see your unemployment rate. The indicators will tell the story after years of Rankonomics. If APC people are here, don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. Let me tell you what I said in Parliament, one of my first speeches. 80% of the parliament, we are all new. I think about 40% or so of them are very young. I said to them, APC and SLPP, you are too young to stick to bad policies of your party. You are too young. You will mortgage your own future. If things are not right, they are not right. Discuss them boldly. If the economy is bad, let us talk about it. Let us see how collectively we fix it. After all, we all have family here. You can't lie about poverty. 70% of the population is still living below $2 a day. Yes, we are dirt poor. We are. A lot of illiteracy. There are things wrong that we must talk about. And of course, I shift and talk about corruption. Yes. Corruption is bad. That's why we talked about institutionalized leakages. That's why we talked about rankonomics. But corruption started a long time ago. It's not only APC government. Other governments have been corrupt too. Why do I say that? Each regime will say, na so them they do, so we say if they do and bad. Each regime will come and say, well, I need to get that money because I will win the next election. And society celebrates the corrupt. If you bluff people, they say they build 3 years together, then you na man. Yes. We where they trust na bank for go build, we not a man. We not half a half. Now the man where they build 3 years, boy, they earn $300. When they build $250,000 house. Now in society they battle. When they say bury don't be, now they give the big money. You pinch by you give. Society celebrates corruption. So we have to talk about it. It is not just cash corruption. It is also institutional corruption. If the judiciary is corrupt, it's bad. If the parliament is corrupt, it is bad. If your academic institutions, have you heard of sexually transmitted grades? I talked about that too. I did public lectures. But sometimes our people dismiss us. They didn't hear the message because they say it is normal. It is normal. We have to talk about corruption. I know people will ask me about GTT. Do you know what GTT is? It's not petrol. It's not a petrol station. Government Transition Report. So I'm trying to preempt your questions, you see. GTT. How much minutes I don't do so I don't talk too much.
Go ahead.
All right, GTT, Commission of Inquiry. It is all good for society. My plea is that the government televises those sessions. Let people learn. So when we have to campaign next time about corruption, they understand what it means. But if it is also open, there will be some fairness. Yes. Commissions, transition reports are all normal. And normal. Yes. And as Kurman said, been doing not so. He had a transition report, he had a commission of inquiry. This government is doing the same. And these are just allegations for now. So people deserve the right to defend their honor. So the process has to be transparent. It has to be time-bound. You cannot drag this for 2 years. People have families. And they talk, say, oh, your family, they take money, but you don't know if it's true or not. Let's finish it. Let's do it fairly, we finish it. The man guilty, guilty. If you're not guilty, let free. Let his or her family get back to business. I think it is just fairness. Justice delayed, justice denied. I have seen injustice in that country. So for me, But yes, commission is normal. And we're happy that independent judges are coming in. This is why we've not commented. As he said, people even write article, Dr. Mkela missing in action for 5 weeks. But I know you say NGC who they talk. We're not afraid. But I chose not to. It is a report. I cannot indict people. I wanted to wait for the commission. I wanted more information. So the party was reviewing. Now we know the commission is coming. But yes, these are the things we would have debated if we had been allowed in Parliament to debate. That yes, the commission should be transparent, should be time-bound. You should include the permanent secretaries as well. and the vote controller.
Yes, yes.
I have been a minister.
Thank you, Dr.
I have been a minister.
Yes.
I am now a parliamentarian. I have been a presidential candidate. I know how governments work. In the UN, I dealt with governments around the world, and in Africa in particular. You cannot tell me the minister thief money, the pansec no sign. It's not possible. Come on, let's be real. Let's be real. Let's be real. The GTT raises questions. As an analyst, you look at it, you say, well, they raise questions. We just need answers to know if it is true. So you need a commission of inquiry to determine the veracity of what they say in that report. Is it true or not true? But also to know the depth of the cancer. Is it true? Is it true? We don't know yet. That somebody spent $1 million for fet arata and cockroach. We don't know. Don't you want to know? $1 million. Now that they use for fumigation, I answer. $1 million boko. But is it true? We don't know. So we need to know more, right? These are allegations. Is it true? People sold the shares in Sarah Rutai. I have seen that story in the international media for at least 6 years. I've read it. Is it true? We don't know. It also raises a fundamental question. If there is a sitting parliament, what is the urgency of giving executive clearance? When do you give executive clearance? This is important for governance. Una know the ask Naya? When did he know? And when did he know it? Not so. Yes. Watergate, not where we will land. Since then, it's always there. It is just good for governance. It is good to account. So these are the NGC views. When I was coming, I asked the party, what can I say? I say, you've seen I've kept quiet about GT. They say, no. Here are things you should say. They've raised issues. So we want to know, how deep is the cancer? But we want to give people the right to defend themselves. I have been in promoting the rights of people and defending rights. I don't want anybody's right abused, because mine was abused. I was hounded for 3 years. At a time, I was almost locked up too. Yes, within 2-3 weeks, so I came out of that country. Yes. But you know, corruption is bad. Let's have a frank discussion. No partisan business. But let the processes be transparent and we follow the rule of law. Finally, I'm now in Parliament. Parliament is an important institution. I've seen people mock me. Yeah, they've mocked me. I've seen it in social media. So those who write it, I want them to know that I read. They do screenshot and send it sometimes. Say the man is now a village representative. Yes, I'm very proud. That's where I was born. That's where I was born. Yeah. I am a village representative who has dined with kings. I'm proud of it. Yeah. So come to my office. Come to my office, you'll see my gallery. I show you I'm standing with the royal family of Spain. Yes. Come to my house. I'll show you I'm having tea time with Thabo Mbeki. But I've done that. Now I'm proud to represent my people in Gambia. Very proud. I hear people talking about grassroots in Sierra Leone. Grassroots. They know nothing about grassroots. What they know is exploiting the grassroots. Yes. I know sabi grassroots politics. Because you buy man pamagide. What I preached during the campaign.
Alert from Google Chrome.
So-called grassroots. I don't want you to remain in the grass. I want you to blossom, to be trees with fruits and flowers. Not remaining in the grass. But yes, some of these ranker politicians, that's what they say. I'm proud to be in Parliament. Let me tell you something. We copied the American Constitution, 1991. That Constitution is not British anymore. 1991. We took part of the American Constitution and adapted it. A lot of powers were given to Parliament. Parliament has to approve all the major appointments. We just did over 100 for this current government in the last 2 months. All the ministers, deputy ministers, ambassadors, deputy ambassadors, all the heads of the parastatals and their deputies, board members. So in essence, Parliament is complicit if they don't perform. Because we approve them. Mr. President can sit and say, may I nominate Agiuna? You were supposed It is not the constitution that is bad or parliament. It is how you use it. Yeah. They created the parliament to be impartial and check the excesses of the executive authority, like here. President is powerful. The most powerful man in the world is the president of America. But parliament can clip in wings too. Yeah. Right? Yeah. They summon his ministers to come there. We own a party business. Yes. Every government wants parliament to be an extension of the executive. So we're there. We're there, we've decided that we'll defend the constitution, the rule of law, and we will be the voice of the people because we serve at the pleasure of the people, not the president. Wow. We were voted by the people for 5 years. But it is not easy. It is not easy. We don't have the numbers. So we have to have bipartisan approaches. We have to be fair. In our country, it's hard to be neutral and fair. Everybody expects you to align. You say something and take it out of context completely. The worst one is you say something and say na badati no like the power. Yes. No. No, it's not about that. It is to say there is a way to do things. If you bend an eye, the other man they bend an next and a precedence. Yes. If you say them in the do one before, so you say they do one for expediency, we're entrenching bad practice. So every now and again we do speak out, and we get blasted for it. We get punched. There was a time 4 months ago, some people called me enemy of the state. I said, hey Papa God, I don't come up on one for 3 years now, another one, because I took a stand on the instruction of my party. On the instruction of my party, I consulted the party. They say, yes, you and your 4 colleagues, that's what you do in parliament. I got blasted for 2 weeks. The following week, they loved me now. So I go through that phase. Loved this week, hated for 3 weeks, loved again. Now some people say, hey, GTD come on, the doctor not say nothing. That means that the all engineer and no. Doctor not so labo person. When doctor talk, he talks sense, not also. Yes. So they study. If the sense not there locally, we import them from diaspora. Ladies and gentlemen, in that phase, I just wanted you to know how significant Parliament is. And I'm going around the country encouraging people now. Students, they just had some interns there. I say, how many of you would run for politics, for Parliament? All man puts their hand behind them back. I say, you better put it forward. If we don't make the right laws, you suffer. If we don't do our oversight role, then anti-corruption will be busy. Anti-corruption will be busy because we don't do our oversight responsibility properly. That's our job. Before people steal, to call them in, say, tell us, how are you doing in your ministry? It's part of our responsibility. What I'm trying to do now in terms of legislation, we've discussed within the party, there's some legislation we want to send forward to Parliament. We started with one. We're working with SLPP and APC and C4C to see if we can amend Section 75 and part of Section 75 and 76 of the Sierra Leone Constitution to allow dual citizens of Sierra Leonean birth, dual citizens of Sierra Leonean birth to hold offices. To hold offices. Clear. These 2 sections are not entrenched. If there's an entrenched clause, you have to go to referendum. They are not entrenched, but you need 2/3 majority. So I've worked closely with them. We have drafted the bill. The law says, SO 47 of our standing orders, any member can move a bill. But I decided that it has to be bipartisan, because it has to be voted on. SLPP wants it, APC wants it, C4C, NGC. So it's all of us. We follow the law. We've sent it to the government printers before I left. Still, they've not printed it. I want to know why. They're supposed to print it. It's their job. It's not a favor. And the law says they print it and publish it, they gazette it for 9 days to give the citizens an opportunity to comment. We listen to the comments, we modify. We give it to them, they publish again. That's what the law says. The law does not say anybody can vet. No. I'm a member of Parliament. It is signed by Cherry Coco, myself, SLPP, we are hoping will sign soon. Yes, because we all benefited from the diaspora. Everyone. Every party. Every party. And we all promised, right? So inshallah, when I go back, I'll give notice to Mr. Speaker, what we call notice of motion. That yes, a bill is coming supported by others. Let us debate it openly. In my view, if we are sincere, we can make that amendment within 2 months. Yeah, all it requires, we debate it, we modify. In fact, the bill is 1 page. We debate, we modify, tinker with it, we pass it, because we've passed other bills now for government. And we all supported the government to pass the Finance Act, the Revenue Act, their new budget. Scratch me back. Scratch you back. Not so. Yes. Now we're scratching each other's back. Not so good Creole English language. Yes. You put it in quotes, scratching back. So I'm very hopeful that it will go. Second move, the government is supposed to do a white paper on the CRC, the Constitutional Review Commission's report. We're expecting it to come forward. We expect again in that process, we submit the same amendments. We do both or we do one, either way, but we have to submit it there. But you have to understand that process can be 6 months, it can be 2 years or 3 years, because it has to go for referendum. Referendum is money. They have to vote. So you can imagine how long it takes, right? What we are doing, 2 months compared to 3 years. The third aspect is the voting right. I've been researching it. Unfortunately, our Secretary General of NGC is a former electoral commissioner. He has looked at it, he's shown me section 18 of the Elections Act. The Election Act already allows that non-resident Sierra Leoneans can be registered overseas. It's already there since 2012. So why didn't it happen? Maybe it's administrative. Maybe it is budget. So what do we want to do? As NGC, we want to approach the SLPP when they're preparing their budgets, approach the Electoral Commission to say, let us discuss modalities and how much would you need for our people to be registered outside so they can vote outside. Yeah. Again, I don't believe it's complicated. I don't believe it's complicated at all. In the United States, I believe you can have 5 centers. New York, DC, one location in the Midwest, maybe it's Chicago, California, and Houston. These are the main Sierra Leonean hubs. I am sure people will book their tickets 4 months in advance. Pay $300. If you sabi use eBay now, you will get tickets for $150. They will go and register on time. And there's biometrics here. You can protect, so there will not be fraud. 5 locations, not to boku money. It can be done. If they can be registered here, they can vote here. After all, Guinean, they vote overseas. Not so. What is wrong with us? We can do the same. I believe Liberians vote here too. Ivorians too. You see, they're saying. So why not us? So in terms of voting overseas, again, collaboration. That is why we are NGC. We believe in partnerships. You heard what I said. I will go back to SLPP. They are the government in power. They have to prepare the budget. We will go to NEC to say, let's work on what it will take. We defend your budget in December. My idea is they start working on it now. Because Salomon, they go delay with the hours. He say, well, I've been for them, but that time not again. Money not it. No. Let us start now. So we will try. But remember, we're only 4 in Parliament. We will try. But for you, it is to judge the rest of us. Whether we're sincere, we're ready to do it or not. But it will not be for lack of trying. And I believe you deserve. We deserve to use your talent. We need to use that talent. The same way your money is going to that country, maybe 300 million or more a year, dollars. We need that talent. So these are the things we're working on. There are other bills that we want to move forward. in Parliament, but those will come. People have given some ideas, we will see what can be done in collaboration with other parties. Last comment is the following. I preempt that too. All kind of newspaper don't come out and social media say Dr. Yomkela NGC don't join this party, or then they join the other one tomorrow morning. NGC, we're here to stay. We're here to stay. We created a platform to give independents and other people an alternative. An alternative. You can express yourself freely politically. You don't have to be forced to conform to orthodoxy. We're here to stay. The Political Parties Registration Commissions Act allows parties to form coalitions. We, NGC, we're open at the appropriate time to form coalitions. That's the reality of life. That's the reality of politics everywhere. In Gambia, they formed a coalition. In Nigeria, in Ghana, coalitions. But you can't form a coalition if you are not strong too. You go be messenger. Yes. And we NGC, we know that we not a messenger. We want change in our country. Like everybody else. And we want to partner. A partnership that has respect. And they respect us if we're organized. Yes. So that's my last message to you. Organize your stand.
United we stand.
Stand united. You touch all. Organize yourselves. Put aside the little pettiness. We were all under pressure last year. We all made mistakes. You can succeed, you can't be where you know me now, actually. Not so. Sorry. I say to people, learn from me. I lost the presidential election, but I'm a happy man. Yeah. Because I have a clear conscience. Yes, no grudge. And I'm so lucky. Somebody sent me at one of those difficult moments, you're reflecting. They sent me the comment by Mandela when he was leaving jail. 27 years. They said he turned around, looked at the cell, and he said, in here, I leave the hate, the anger, and all the vengeance I have in me. Otherwise, I'll be a prisoner outside. Today, I'm free. I'm free. That's why I can come here to face you. But you give me the confidence. What I have seen here, this is my fourth stop. Fourth. What I have seen everywhere, the core of the support base for NGC is intact. Few people left. Few people left. That's okay too. NGC saved democracy. A coalition. The man been there with you today. He said, but my cousin self don't get all that thing. I miss I want to tell her. It is okay. Don't feel bad. Don't get angry. Yeah? Let's welcome more people. In Ohio, we had the leadership of APC and SLPP with us last night. We all rub skin. Because coalitions are possible in the future. And people know today what they didn't know before. That yes, we're forced to reckon with. And we've learned. Yes, we've learned our game. A little bit more now. So I ask you to, reorganize yourself. We'll be working on guidelines. We want you later this year or early next year. You'll do elections too. You do elections everywhere. But orderly. So we'll work with your chapter executives to come up with the guidelines. It's a franchise system. McDonald's are the same, any side you go.